Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
This is Alison Kentos. I am an early childhood educator.
And this is Cindy Tarabush. I am an early childhood consultant.
This podcast is for parents and early childhood professionals.
Let our experience and research-based knowledge become your guide. Hi, preschool peeps.
Hi, peeps.
Today, our heart goes out to the good child.
Yes, my empathy is with you.
Allison just felt so strongly about this topic. So we're going to let you talk about it.
I did. I've been noticing that, like, children who are labeled as the good child by their parents.
By their parents. In school too, or only by their families?
Their families label them the good child. And it could be because, like, maybe the older sibling has had some, like, learning disabilities going on or something, so they get labeled as something
Or
different.
behavior or
behavioral
behavioral
issues.
stuff. Yeah.
And so then now here's this child, and usually the younger child who's, but who knows, maybe not, is labeled as the good child. And I feel like there's so much pressure to remain that good child that sometimes it makes their behavior different than what it would, or maybe they wouldn't take as many risks, or maybe they're not going to play a certain way because they don't want to get in trouble.
Because they themselves know they're the good child.
Because yes, I think they know that they're the good child. And I also, when this child, say, is doing what to me is developmentally appropriate 4-year-old behavior, might be something that I would say to the parent, like, hey, could you talk to my home about this happened today at school?
Mm-hmm.
And you get that, oh no, he would never do that, he's the good one.
Children do get labeled as the good one. I think they get labeled as the good one at home and in early childhood programs.
Yes, I think that's true.
And I think sometimes the good one in an early childhood classroom where there are so many children will sometimes do things that are not so great, but we're not watching them as closely because they're the good one.
Right. Or you let them pass, you're like, oh, but they're usually so good all the time, so it's all right.
So you get a pass.
You get a pass.
Yeah.
But somebody else who did the same thing is like, you don't get a pass. And that's not fair.
Well, that's part of, I think that's a bias. I think that's part of bias. Like you don't give me as hard a time as your sibling or as your classmate. Right. So I'm going to give you more passes than I give anybody else.
Right.
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 And that has to do with how we feel about them more than their own behavior.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's there's like this label of you're the good one. So, and then there's things that happen because the child is known as the good one.
Right.
I think it's also a whole lot of pressure to be the good one.
Yes.
I think we have to be very careful about not communicating our opinion of who is good and who is not as good as that child, especially at home, because I think it's so much pressure to conform that they become people-pleasing people as they get older. And
and with the student in my class, I've noticed he already has anxiety.
Oh yeah, I bet it can cause a lot of anxiety because you're trying to maintain. Right. You're trying to maintain. It's sort of like, I don't know, like an Academy Award winner who now feels like I have to win an Academy Award for every role I take.
Yes.
Because if I don't, then I'm not doing as well as I did before.
And I think when you have it at home, if you are the good one, say, I'm doing air quotes, people, if you are the good one, then, and you see your parents treating your sibling differently, then you don't want them to treat you like that. So you want to keep in the good graces. Is that the
you're trying to maintain your status as the good one.
So you don't want to make waves, or you don't want to take risks, or you don't want to make I think it makes it so you don't know how to make decisions. You don't make decisions. You're like inactive in decision making. You're like, well, if I choose the wrong thing, then I might suddenly all be in the other category.
I think what bothers me so much about this, he's the good one or she's the good one label, is that all human beings have both good and not so great within them.
Right.
You aren't just one thing.
You're not one thing. Yeah.
You're not, you can be, for example, really smart in some areas of learning, but not in others.
Correct.
You can be really good in some situations, but maybe not so much others. Don't you
Right.
think the child who's been labeled good, who's trying to maintain that status in a classroom or at home, is the child who tends to become sneakier?
Yes. That is a good point.
I think they just learn to be sneaky.
So they don't get caught
Yeah.
because they want to remain in their good status.
Right.
I guess.
So if they want to keep the good status, they're just going to be, they're going to do the other things that they
Sneaky.
want to try. They're going to do it quietly.
Or not tell the truth about it.
That too.
Right?
That can prompt them to
creating
lie.
Somebody who's going to lie because,
Yeah.
if you're asking a question like, did you do that? They might be like, no, I didn't do that, when they really did. But like, I don't think I ever want to put a child in a situation where they feel they have to lie.
We did an episode about why children lie
Yeah,
once upon a
we
time
did.
on this episode. You all will have to look back.
It's a good
And
one.
it was once upon a time, a
Once
long
upon a
time ago, we
time.
did this
Yeah.
episode. Look back for it. I don't recall talking about how because you've been labeled the good child, you have to lie now to maintain your
Mhm.
status. But it's kind of true. And it's such a false perception of human beings. Like I said before, you
Yeah.
aren't just one thing.
Yeah.
So to be like, oh, about my children, like, oh, he's the good one. I don't do that with my two children.
Right,
They're
no.
both wonderful in their own way.
Yeah.
And they both, make us a little nutty in our own way. But they know that about
But
themselves.
they know that. Yeah, you're not
know?
being not true. Like
They're both,
telling-
how about this? They're both wonderful in some ways and they're both quirky in some
Yes,
ways.
and you're not saying anything that you wouldn't say to their faces. Like you would
Correct.
say that to their faces.
Yes, I
like,
would.
So
Yes, I'm
yeah,
that mom.
Yeah.
I'm honest.
But they also know that.
They
They're
do.
Not, they're not stupid. They know that.
No, they're
quirky.
adults.
They know that they're like that. So like,
Yeah.
that's the way you raise them. Like it's okay to be quirky and it's okay to do that.
I mean, I think I raised them that way because they're
Yeah.
both kind of quirky in their own way.
I feel like everybody's quirky in their own way, right? Like that's normal.
And I didn't want to put pressure on them like that.
Yeah.
You're not.
Your two sons are very different
Yes.
individual
Yes,
people,
they are.
which is amazing to me.
Yes.
Like that's what's good. It's like there was no he's the good one because he does this and there was none of that. They were
Correct.
just different people.
Correct. They're just
Yeah.
very different people. There was no good or not good.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about my family of origin. I have two sisters. I'm
Yes.
thinking, so I don't think that I was the good one. I don't know if they agree with that assessment. I think one of my sisters, who shall remain nameless, was the good one when we were young. I don't know if that's still the case as adults,
Yes.
but when we were young, I think one of my sisters was the good one. And I hope they're both listening, right? I should tell them to listen to this episode. I think I will. Like when it comes out,
When it
please listen
comes
to
out.
this episode and let me know what you think. I think that I wonder if we would be sitting in a room together pointing at each other,
Yeah,
like
you're gonna
as
do one of these.
one of them where we're pointing in opposite directions as to who's the good one. But I think that one of my sisters was the good one. And I do think that there was pressure put upon this person I'm thinking of when we were young.
Yes. Because I think of my family of origin, and I think when I was younger, I was the good one because my older sister tended to do trouble teenage stuff. And my brother did, but I don't, not that it was bad stuff. It was normal teenage behavior, and I was one like, I'll just stay home. I'll stay home.
See, you were that
Yeah,
kid.
I was that. But
I think
then
one of my sisters was.
it also, for different reasons, I would stay home, not necessarily just to be the good person, but there were other reasons too. But then I think as we got older, as adults, I don't think I am no longer thought of as the good one, only because my life is different than say my brother's. My brother,
Right.
got married, had children, did everything that an adult person should do. And here's Allison, who's like,
Well, I
"Yeah,
mean,
no."
not every adult
know.
person.
But I think like sometimes if your mother,
Oh, if your mother thinks that.
yes,
Okay.
your mother thinks that because she's from a different generation, it's like, what are you judging? What is good? What
So
is the definition of good?
So did you go from being the good child to the not good child?
Correct.
Wow, that must be painful. What are we doing to the children when we categorize them like that? And people say it out loud.
Yes.
Like I have had family say, we're so excited about this conference because she's the good one.
I had a conference with somebody who said, we don't want to sit here and talk about him because he's the good one, even though he's the one in your class. Can we please talk about the behavior of the older one
Who you don't have
in my class?
So they didn't want to talk about the one they think is the good one.
Correct.
I've also had teachers say, talk about children who have more challenging behavior. And then if I say, well, what about this child? Because I saw them instigate the behavior,
Yes,
they
yes.
say, oh no, he's the good one.
Yep.
Can we just take that phrase, the good one,
Yeah.
and throw it out,
away.
throw it away with so many other phrases and words that we have over time thrown away? Because it is that child who instigated the behavior that I observed with my own two eyes.
Yeah.
We were told, oh no, like he's the good one. And I'm like, okay, but he just went over
He just
there
did that.
and pinched that kid.
Yeah.
And that's why he slapped him. Okay. Because
that boy or that student probably knows I'm the good one. And if I instigate this, he's going to get in trouble and not me.
correct.
So,
Correct.
but I think this
They do it quietly.
Yes, they do it quietly.
Sneaky, like we
They're
said.
sneaky. But I think this shows that in any given person's life, you're going to make good decisions and you're going to make bad decisions. There's no person's life that they make all good decisions and they are good all the time.
So what do we want to
It's
do
not
instead? Instead of
Yeah.
saying he's the good one, what do we want to do instead? We want to, I do want to acknowledge their individual efforts and achievements.
Yeah.
But I want to do it without coming up with a general label for this child. So, and I want to be realistic and recognize that my
Yeah.
child or the child in my class who seems to me to be the good one also has things to learn about life
Yes.
and behavior.
Because that's what we're doing there. We're learning.
But we spend less time with the good one.
Yes. Well, we assume they know what to do. But they don't because they're still 3. Okay.
You know what I want to do? I want to get a room full of people who were labeled as the good one, either in school or at home, into a room together as adults.
Yeah.
And I want to say to them, so tell me about being the good one.
Yes, because you know what? It's not fun.
But they're either going to say it was a lot of pressure or I got away with a lot.
Or I got away with a lot, or I've become a people pleaser because of this now, or I have trouble saying no to people because I just want to please them. Like, I think there's like severe long-term effects of being labeled the good one.
We think saying she's the good one is a big compliment when actually listen to what you just said. It's not any label.
Yeah.
What we perceive as good or not good,
Yeah.
doesn't define a person.
Right.
We are whole people with strengths and areas of opportunity for growth and learning.
Yes.
So whole people are not just one thing.
Right.
And when we start to label in this way, we put people into, like you said, into a box or a silo, and they have to fight to get out of the box. When you are closed in, even if it's something that sounds positive to people, when you are closed in, you have to fight to get out and to be yourself.
You're fighting to, I was just gonna say, you're fighting to just be yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're afraid if I'm myself, if I fully am myself,
yes,
it's going to get judged.
Yes.
And it might not be good, and that's not right.
I think that we need to just stop doing that. And when something good happens, you acknowledge that so that they know to repeat that, but they're not being given a general pass on life.
Yeah.
Because you did some good things while your sibling or your classmate was more challenging.
Right.
And so now you are this person and they are this person.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So we have to stop doing, this is my good child.
This is my good child.
Or my good student.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a student who has done some good things. This is a child who has done some good things. Right?
Yeah.
And you can be really specific, like this is my child who, when we're out at the restaurant, sits nicely and eats dinner. right? This is my child who, when we are walking down the hall to the playground, always walks carefully and
But then
quietly.
I question, even if you phrase it like that, what about the one day you take them to a restaurant and they don't sit nicely?
Well, that's
Right?
why I
I
don't
mean,
want the
that's-
overall
Yeah,
label.
yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't say when we leave the restaurant, I would say to the child, I really like the way you
Yes,
sat there today.
sure, yeah.
But I wouldn't say you're the good one in the restaurant.
Yeah.
I would say, I really like the way you sat there today. I hope you'll do that again next time.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
All right. I can't say the phrase good one anymore. It doesn't sound like real words to me. We've said it so
Yeah,
much
I
in
know.
this one.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to let you all go think about that. And even if it sounds like a positive label, it can have negative long-term
Yes.
effects because we're labeling.
Yes.
That's the thought I
That's
want to
the
leave
thought.
everybody
There
with.
you go. Yeah.
All right, folks. So let us know what you think. We'll be ready for all of the I was the good one or not the good one stories.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you know people who do this, who label either things they think that are positive or not, I hope you'll share our episodes with them and just say, hey, here's something that I think we should listen to or you should listen to.
Yeah.
That's important. Okay, folks, we will catch you next time on the podcast.
Bye.
Bye.